Streaming. Okay, yo 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 to the yo 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 for you. We made it to another test. Did some thinking about things last night and checked out the YouTube library, watched a couple of videos, and here we are now. I had recorded a test, a 5-minute test, found a 5-minute piece of music, and so we've thrown that up. We've changed the properties, the chroma key, so there's no opacity. We're put it on a loop, and so I'm going to stay with this for a little bit and go through some of the settings. I took the mic auxiliary 2 off because that's actually a voice catcher for me. Did a cough test. And I believe where we're at right now is the advanced properties currently are the browser, which is the YouTube video. That the title of the YouTube video has been changed, and it's in my studio. That's at 11%, and the main mic is at 80%. Mic auxiliary, as I said, is at 0. And I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and change that up right in the advanced audio properties window so that we don't confuse ourselves. Close that up. Let this thing go for the 5-minute run. See how that music really comes across. I did a little fader at the end. I don't know if it really picked up. There's always kind of weird testing going on with this, being that I don't have any comms. But we're getting excellent condition. We're on take 5. And my mic should be more I'm kind of side addressing it, not really. It's in a weird, I have it on the stand to the left, so it's coming across, and it might need to go kind of under my under my chin just a little tiny bit. I think it might be a little too heady. It's a little high for me. Perhaps bring it down a little bit so it's literally right in front of me. I love the mic. I think it's good. We dealt with a little bit of the reflection going on with a piece of like wall insulation that's about 26 inches by 40 inches, something like that. That's on a tabletop easel. And I have 2 of those. If we need to bring the other one up, then we can do it on the desk. But I think the main issue probably in this build is the desk that I have has a glass top, and I'll share. I think it's called the Madison. It's a Restoration Hardware desk, and I think it's got the chrome legs, the sawhorse chrome legs, and a big top that I don't have anything in the drawers, never have kept anything in the drawers. I mean, there's a couple of things, but I've never kept the drawers full. And on the desk itself, I've got some L'Occitane boxes, a Lancome box, a big square. This would be considered like a storage box that I keep all sorts of little things in, that kind of goes almost all the way across the desk. So I probably have to take all those things and then add some much softer elements to the desk. So I'm kind of weighing those things. I don't want to lose. I like my things around me. I don't need to be feeling like I'm in some sort of bouncy house when I'm sitting down and giving a chit chat here on YouTube. So I thought, well, let me go ahead and open it up. I will unplug myself, and I did test last night too by unplugging. It's the only way that I can hear the audio. simply turning my mic off. That does not work. I'm not happy with fiddling with the dongle so many times, but it's an Apple dongle and it should hold up pretty well. So let's run over to the channel, and you'll hear some fiddling and so forth for just a little bit here while I unplug myself. Okay, here we go. So we'll check it out. Sounds okay. I did just one little modification. We have the browser now at 8% and my mic at 90%. So we'll see if that 890 works. And listening back to it, remember too that I should only be on for 5 minutes, or else it will go into a loop. So let's see how long we've been up for. Oh, we have been for 5 minutes. So let me just stay with that for just a couple moments. Beyond that, actually 8 minutes and 27 seconds. So you'll be on a loop right now after 5 minutes. And we will then go back in and see if that modification worked. What I don't want to do is be so particular about it. But it's obvious that, the music bed needs to come down. Like that's just, I'm just not too sure how much lower we can really bring it. I can still see that it's well above my voice though. So that part is kind of annoying, huh? Let me bring it down live here while I'm with you and then go back to advanced properties and see where it took it then. Oh, it took it to 0, so it can't be 0. And, maybe 5%? See, I don't understand in the advanced audio properties, and when it's in the volume percentage, is it the percentage of all of the inputs? Or is it a percentage of what is coming in through the recording? is it 5%? Because it doesn't sound like 5% of that recording. And then on the YouTube side, you have no idea how they recorded it. So it seems a little bright, a little loud, and for some reason I cannot. I mean, if I bring it down, it's 5% right now. Bring it down, you go to 0. And if I bring my voice up to 100%, I don't think that that's safe for anybody to have their volume at 100%. Okay. So it looks like more than likely we're going to be having a take 6 in the near future here, and that's quite all right, I think. Take one more listen. Okay, one more listen. We're doing all right. I really do. I think, in fact, when I brought it all the way down to 0, you know what's really weird? Is you can still hear it. The browser is still playing in OBS, even at a 0 mix, a 0 percentage mix. You can still hear it, like all the way down. And I think just with the tone of my voice, I think the 90% were good. 10% well above. I'm not playing into the red at all, so we're just right there, maybe where we should be. And so I'm pretty happy. The mic auxiliary 2 has been completely muted with 0 volume coming through. Once again, I do believe that it's picking up. Why it would be picking up from the mic, I don't know. But right now, seriously, I don't really care. We could stay on, and I could bring up some things and do some reading. I do have to grab a centimeter jewelry ruler and make some measurements on the bracelet charms, which will be being burned today. Very excited, and haven't settled in on the leather fittings or if they're going to be waxed jute macrame. I haven't decided. I'm going to go over to Etsy and see how my Nordic friends finish their jewelry and get some ideas about what we can do with that. So that's pretty much the way that the next few days are going to go. I want to make sure that I can do photography the very 1st of November, those first few days, and everything will be re-photographed. So I'll get a nice new fresh look into the season. I'll let go some of the neutrals and add some more brights, being that it's the holiday season. So I'm going to have a lot of fun. Gathered some leaves and branches, and so who knows what we'll come up with on the photography side. Still a lot of negative news about Etsy. And you know what's really weird is like, this must be just kind of my general all attitude. Let it, like burn down the house. Let's see that. Let us see how far Etsy can be shorted. And because the platform itself has tremendous promise, and it did. We've talked about this quite a bit here in the house, is that the print on demand has done, in a way I feel like Etsy should have just bought Printify, or the opposite, just go ahead and be honest with it, but maybe fork Etsy, have one side be very AI, print on demand, and then let the makers, have their own space and place. To compete with print on demand is just it's two minds, and I think it's confused the universe. I think that print on demand definitely has confused the maker. So it has this very kind of sad, it's going through a very sad moment in time. And it's a perfect opportunity for someone like me. You've either not experienced anything, or you are just at a very sad place, and we're just waiting for you to what's called find your low. Let's find it. Let's come to the end of yourself. Let's come to the end of the final price point for Etsy, and then begin to rebuild. Is it going to be the way that I think it should be? I certainly haven't been on the platform long enough to, come out with recommendations, but you can definitely see that there are two worlds going on, and I think it has, as I would say, confused the universe to the point where people are now suffering. They're leaving the platform. Some of these makers, when they come on and they speak about their businesses, it is just shockingly sad. So you can't have a lot of sad people, and on any platform. You just, if you have too much sadness and too much drama, then it becomes something else. I think that's kind of what's going on with Etsy. And then the guru themselves, they understand YouTube. They know how to get the numbers. And I think pretty much most of us know how to get the numbers on YouTube. It has it's in a moment of, let me see. I need another cup of coffee probably for this one. You can't have success on YouTube without problems. You have to offer a problem. And in the beginning it was like, oh no, what you do is that you assess a problem, and then you come over to YouTube and you solve the problem. You solve the unique problem, I've seen it in Bitcoin, I've seen it in finance, I've seen it in panel discussions. We're just here to solve a problem, not be the problem. And of course now YouTube has become the problem. If you offer enough problems, and if you offer enough controversy around those problems, and you follow a certain playbook, you do have a chance at viewership. You get the viewership, the potential of getting your subscriber count. That can help. It always helps to see another person fail and then pick up their subscribers. I've seen that many, many times on YouTube. So you have to be able to be willing to offer this kind of safe zone. I'm sure you guys have seen that before. Oh, this is where the good people are, and we're the good people, and over there, those are the bad people. This sort of thing does not exist outside of the schoolyard. the good people and the bad people, you know, the good side of town and the bad side of town. It just does not exist outside. So the idea of solving a problem can't happen because, you know, you are the problem. No one can be straightforward. People are playing around a lot with time, going live in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. I'm seeing absolutely everything. And something that I'm noticing too is that, you know, mature content, adult content is that. And so when you hear the little ones in the background and you're discussing adult things, maybe, you know, horrible things, I don't know the environment that's going on at home that your little ones would be witness to that, and then you think that they're not. I can tell you that they are. You know, little ones will pick up all sorts of things going on in your life. We know that. So, you know, in true crime, for example, when we're talking about really serious matters, and sure, there's a trigger warning, but there's not a warning for let's go ahead and get the little ones settled. Try and have these very adult conversations and, you know, leave them to their childhood. Why you're integrating them into this. Most of these cases are absolutely horrible. So that's a concern of mine, where it's people are becoming that's okay, that they're supporting creators, and that's okay with them. So to be kind of aware of where this is all going, and kind of try and be ahead of what's to be, okay? If I'm really good at this and projecting some of the end of where we're at now, because not LawTube is great content. LawTube is true crime. YouTube has allowed for the outside legal world to come in, and they do not have the protection of YouTube. They do not have the protection of First Amendment. They do not have the protection of all of the disclaimers that you could possibly place on your content. You do not have YouTube's blessing or YouTube preparing you for what could happen. And even though the platforms have apparently been served, and they know the names, the filings don't include the underbelly of your handle. And that concerns me, that these names of these individuals are simply attached to their persona. So there's all of this other data, and you know, it tells me that there's a certain amount of this that was not taken seriously, but yet it's being presented as being very, very serious. Now, you know, there are all sorts of different ways lawyers handle filings in all sorts of different ways. They'll not be, you know, make it well done. They can be in a rush, or they can think that they've got it handled, or sometimes they're even doing it themselves, and then you'll get their draft, and you'll, you know, wonder who has the, you know, the law license. So the outside world, and as I think everyone probably pretty much knows, that when you're in YouTube, and of course you can distribute your content anywhere else, when you're in YouTube, there's some sort of a energy one reason is that they pay, so there's a good energy there. If you're over at Twitch, maybe you're going to be paid there. I don't know what Rumble is on X. If you can be a content creator and be paid on X now. But because the granddaddy sits on YouTube, there's this idea that, we are insulated from the outside legal world because YouTube has its own terms of service. But as it would be, it's good for their business for there to have a certain segment, true crime, that in no way can solve anything. All it is doing is bringing the problems of the crime. It is not built to solve. I know what people say. I know what people think. We were there. We were the ones that pointed the finger. There's a lot of finger pointing in crime. And yet, this is not a, I got it right kind of thing when there was perhaps, an unaliving and you want to be first in line to point the finger. In that regard, you really should probably join law enforcement so that you can wield that kind of power and authority over others and do it well enough. So I'm not really too sure exactly where this genre is going. There's a lot of talk about, I hear this a lot, that new true crime content creators have, unless they have been a victim of crime, that they have no business talking about it. That's one thing I've heard. And this is really interesting to me because, oh boy. Can we talk about being a victim of crime, a victim of corruption, a victim of familial lies and ties? Okay? Most of us have been a victim of humanity's crime against us, or else we would not be speaking this way about other people. Because when you have a good life, and I'm speaking where no one has ever said a bad word to you. I remember a great interview with Stevie Nicks, and she had to come out and explain that I am the way that I am because everyone kept me from the bad. The bad that I brought into my life, I brought into my life. But everyone kept me from the bad. I was like, wow, that's a life. When everyone around you just wants to keep you from the bad. I'm not talking about breakups and some of the things that she's gone on, through in life, but it did not come into her creative space. I'll have to find that interview and re-listen to it so that I understand that she really did feel as though had it been where she was completely alone and had to fend for herself, it would not be that way. And when you have to fend for yourself, you will be a victim. And you will have found yourself in situations where the other person might have felt victimized. So there are no rules about how to come into these true crime stories, but there are stories and cases. But I am seeing that people are trying to dominate it in a certain way. And of course, having this outside influence, outside legal influence coming into YouTube is, I find it, I'm absolutely fascinated by it, because in my world, lawyering is this incredible art form. And when you do it well, the outcomes are really stunning to witness. And so true crime is going through something right now. Is this going to be one of those opportunities where we see the gorgeousness of law, that law has come in and now we're going to witness some sort of transformation? Because see, transformation is really hard on a platform like YouTube. YouTube has to step in. YouTube has to define who is good, and then the other part of it, who is hate. Imagine. Isn't that something that maybe as adults that we might be able to prevent from happening, that YouTube defines these things? Don't you think that we should know the difference? I don't know. Are the disclaimers not enough? They're not big enough? You know, deep enough, read well, rushed through, they're just sloppy, they're not meaningful, and they're not coming from YouTube. You know, they're basically handwritten, copied and pasted from other creators. You can see down below in my description how I'm gathering all of the words and wordings of, you know, all sorts of different people, from FBI profilers all the way down to new channels. So we're just not there yet. There's a lot of work that we still have to do. I find it interesting enough, and I do think that I have been victim enough to show an interest. I do think it's kind of the part that I really like about an active case, especially when the lawyers come in, is that you can archive the filings, you know, that there are no copyrights. I don't know if anybody's got that yet or not. Even if you make a mistake, miss a line, don't read the person's name right, you know, you are not a speaking, speak clearly into the microphone so the court reporter can hear you. So, yeah, I don't know exactly what I want to do. If I want to have my own recordings, I still have to go back and pick up the manuscript and continue on with that, which I do privately, and make sure that I get that going on. So there's still a lot of reading to do, a lot of doing. And with that, we'll go ahead and close it up. I do appreciate, after 33 minutes, I do appreciate, want to work on a few things. We will do that together, and until take 6, bye-bye now.